Hey everybody, it's your boy Justice Slay, back with another video. You know it. Anyways, guys, I'm going to be talking about my favorite era of all time in the world in history, and that is the 90s. And I love the 90s, especially since I grew up. I was born in 1997, but some of the things that were in the 90s I still got used to. For example, at age 4, I was watching morally questionable shows that a 4-year-old shouldn't be watching, like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Friends, a bunch of other shows. Again, most of my parents were busy, so I didn't have any adult supervision when I was watching TV. And I remember waking up since I was born in Chicago, Illinois, not Florida. If anyone who's from Florida or anyone from Chicago, Illinois, remember a channel called, if you're from northern states, you might remember a channel called Kids WB. Well, at night, Kids WB wasn't Kids WB. It was called the U. So early, like 6 to 7:30, or no, 6 to 7:30, like 6 to 8:30. They played the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Friends, and on some other show on this channel called the U. And then they switched to cartoons at 9 o'clock, or in the morning, or 9 o'clock, 9:30 in the morning, to Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Power Rangers, stuff like that. But for me, growing up, there's a song that I love the most. It's called "You're Not a 90s Kid," and in the song they say you're not a 90s kid just because you were born in 1998 doesn't make you a 90s kid. You're too late. See, my point of view is half the stuff they list that you probably haven't experienced. I experienced growing up. I experienced that horrible dial-up AOL internet thing because my parents had AOL as a email account, and they still have it as AOL. I witnessed all of the shows they were talking about because I watched the full reruns, and I had an uncle who liked to watch that stuff. And I still have him, and he still watches some of that stuff with me. I didn't get into Goosebumps like I am now, guys, until I was around 6. And I think I told you how I found that out, but I'll just give you a quick recap. I was in the library in Chicago, Illinois, and near my grandfather's house. And at the time, I didn't have a library card, but my papa did. So anything I would get there would be on their card. So as a kid, I didn't read a lot. I'll admit it, I wasn't a reader at all. I didn't read until at least 7th grade. Not 7th grade, more like middle of 3rd grade I started reading because I had to start reading. I could read, I just never wanted to read. And that seriously lacked in my developing reading skills later on. So far that at one point I was actually in high school, and I took a small test in high school in 9th grade, and my teacher told me that I had a 7th grade reading level. Somehow I took the test again, and 3 weeks later, I was at the perfect reading level for a 9th grader. So either there was something wrong with my test that she had gave me, or I was actually reading at a 7th grade level, or that just for that day. I don't know. Anyways, I got into Goosebumps by going to the library, and as a kid, since I didn't have a library card, my grandfather had a rule. Since I never picked out books, I could only take him around 3 VHSs. At the time, they had DVDs, but they weren't widely used at this library I was going to. The VHS tapes they had would be all in one row in the kids section. You walk in through the door, you have the adult section over there, and you walk in through a new door, and you got kids section. Okay? And now, on that huge long line, there would be kids' VHS tapes, and then a bunch of other kids' books all around. Anyways, growing up, I went to the VHS tapes really. Like, I was supposed to be 3 or 4. As soon as I started growing up, it was like more and more money. More. I got added to a list of more things that I could go on, could add more VHSs. So, growing up, I had only allowed to have, at a certain age, like at 6, so I had to have 4 items, 4 VHSs. So I usually had bought Scooby-Doo, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and borrowed them from the library. But at a certain point where I watched every episode they had there, Until one day I'm walking in a line and I'm picking up some Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm picking up some Pokemon that I've already watched, but I want to watch them again. And I walk by and something on my corner like catches it. And I think I told you this in the video. It's a girl with a denim, what's it called, overalls, carrying a pretty cool, scary mask like this. And in big green letters, it says Goosebumps, the Haunted Mask. And I thought the cover looked so cool. And I got to the DVD. I knew my grandfather. I read the back of it. I was able to read enough that I was able to read the back of the story. And I said, "Oh, it looks pretty cool and creepy. I don't like that." And so I knew my grandfather immediately seeing the VHS would scare him to death. So he would not. And he would say, "Nope, no, there's no way I'm getting this." So what I did was, again, I reacted too soon for my grandfather. I just plugged him in saying he was going to be like overprotective grandfather and not wanting me to watch it or something. But it turns out he was very chillaxed about it. So what I did was I bought some regular Scooby-Doo's and some Pokemon, and I bought some of that, and I put it all into one. I put the thing at the middle. So when he's taking them through, he won't look at them because he used to just look and usually see the Scooby-Doo Pokemon and they're like, okay. Well, to that day, when he was going through the thing, he looks at me, and he looks at the VHS tape, the middle one, which is the horror mask. Then looks at me and says, "You want me to get this?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, I want to watch it." I said, "Okay. Then don't come crying to me when you get nightmares. Or your parents telling me that they can't sleep, you keep waking up screaming that you have nightmares." Now, I was the kid that I watched, I think, 5 of the Goosebumps episodes before I started, but I made a mistake of watching Haunted Mask 2 at night, where my dad was asleep, no one to cover me, and I got scared half to death, and I got so scared that if I saw the that VHS cover, I panicked, and I went into like a small panic attack. That's how scared I was of that VHS tape. And ever since then, I just started reading the books. But I was always warning people, the kids that were younger than me or kids that were a bit older than me, if you're watching Goosebumps, never watch The Haunted Mask 2. You will be scared to half to death. Yeah, that's what I used to do. Until I watched it again when I was 10 or 9 or 10, and I wasn't scared anymore, and I thought I was a crybaby for being scared. Anyways, a little bit going back from my shame. Anyways, guys, my favorite era was the 90s, and I lived through the mid-2000s up to this day. I'm still living now, as you can see. But all the things they talk about in that video, I've experienced. I've taken tests in the 90s, and usually I get 100% out of all of it. I took a recent test on how well I'm a 90s kid, and I got a 24 out of 25 questions. I got one question wrong, and that was, think about floppy disks. I don't know what it was exactly. I forgot the question already. But I know I passed the test because it did say you are indeed a 90s kid and you know the 90s pretty well. For me, the 90s was just a cool time to be alive. They had great music, great fashion sense, great shows, great movies. Oh my god, guys. I mean, if you were a 90s person, let me hear it in the comments below. That's all I gotta say. If you're a 90s fan, I want to know in the comments below what your favorite shows were in the 90s. My favorite shows that came out from the 90s were SpongeBob SquarePants, as you all know, Goosebumps, Airy Indiana, Are You Afraid of the Dark, a bunch of other shows that I don't have time to list it because I'm trying to save data on my phone, but on my storage thing. Anyways, guys, that's it for this video. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the 90s, and let me know what your favorite shows were in the 90s or any favorite things from the 90s were. Stay cool, guys. Bye.